The video begins with an introduction stating it is episode 2 of the Coffin of Andy and LeyLey. They are now on the run from the consequences. Episode 2 is titled Graves and picks up where they are finishing eating their neighbor. The characters are hiding out in a cheap motel and running low on money. They discuss how it's difficult to stay anywhere without providing identification. One character complains about needing ID for everything. They reminisce about the past when paying cash was enough. One mentions having a panic attack frequently. One character is looking through old newspapers for any news coverage of their crimes, but doesn't find anything. The other complains that there won't be anything worthwhile to find. They argue briefly before one returns to watching TV and waiting for the news. The dilapidated state of the motel is described. There are ads for prostitution, and one character notes it's not even good enough to use as toilet paper. The vending machine advertises questionable drinks, including one that inquires if the reader is tired of living. One character wants to buy a soda, but the other says they can't afford frivolous purchases. The characters walk to their former apartment building, which has been completely destroyed by a fire. It's implied this was done intentionally to cover up evidence of their crimes. They assume everyone died and all traces of their wrongdoing has been erased. They pass by a recycling center and waste management facility on the way. Advertisements for toxic soda are plastered about, indicating the beverages cause bodily harm. This suggests corporate corruption in the city. With no money, home, or friends, the characters return to the seedy motel room. One washes the clothes while the other continues watching TV, half hoping for but not expecting any news about them. An argument breaks out over using nicknames instead of real names. One character had requested they stop using nicknames, but the other continues anyway. It escalates as they accuse each other of not taking the situation seriously. After the nickname argument, one character begins acting erratic and threatening while watching the news. A report indicates their former apartment building burned down, though the cause is uncertain. The characters suspect someone is still after them. More details on the apartment fire are given, but they provide no new information, only speculative comments from officials. The characters realize all evidence of their misdeeds has likely been destroyed in the fire. A news representative tries to promote a soda company despite reporting on a tragedy. This furthers the theme of corporations influencing the city and controlling the narrative. With their apartment and belongings destroyed, the characters discuss what their next move should be. One suggests asking their mother for help, but the idea is quickly rejected since they can't risk contacting anyone they know. One character has an ominous dream vision of someone entering their motel room to kill them. Though initially doubtful, the other character becomes convinced someone is still pursuing them, and they must flee before it's too late. They return to the motel room and decide whether to flee immediately or stand their ground and confront their pursuer. The vision was unclear if the killer finds them at the room or follows them when they leave. Debating what to do next about their pursuer at the motel, the characters argue over whether to stay and fight or flee. With indecision, they ultimately remain parked outside their room to see if the killer will appear. One character impulsively chases after the cultist alone into a nearby alley before realizing it could be a trap. They see a suspicious figure who looks familiar enter a building and decide to follow him. After attempting to sneak inside, they learn it is a private cult meeting expecting a password. The figure they followed chastises them for trying to enter. Despite not having the password, one of the characters pretends they were invited and questions the cult member about it being a demon summoning party. The member clarifies there is no demon summoning and tells the character to leave. After the cult member leaves, they find an employee key card and formulate a plan to cause a ruckus so an employee will come investigate, allowing them to overpower the employee and steal their access card. They are able to access the cult's floor in the building and find carts of cake being prepared for some event. One character hides in a cart while the other poses as catering staff. They bluff their way past a cult member and make it into the ritual area. From inside the cart, they spy on a demon summoning ritual the cult is attempting. However, the cult is unable to successfully summon anything. They insult the cult's lack of success before getting caught by a member. After being caught spying, one character tries to come up with excuses. They decide to pretend to have forgotten something in the room as a ploy to lure the killer out. Hiding nearby, they plan to ambush him when he emerges from the room in pursuit of them. With fresh sacrifice in hand, the character draws a summoning circle and successfully calls upon the dark entity. However, they still cannot properly comprehend its murmured instructions. In continued failed communication, the entity becomes angered and begins berating the character. They argue aggressively back and forth, the entity cursing their existence before disappearing. The unsettling vision abruptly ends with the entity's departure. The character emerges shaken and disturbed by the encounter. Their brother appears concerned by the trance. The trap is set into motion as they loudly announce their presence and enter the room. Shots ring out from their hiding spot as they repeatedly shoot the pursuer. After confirming he is dead, they take his money and car keys. The characters discuss how to dispose of the killer's body without being caught. They find documents on him that imply he was hired anonymously to target them. Wanting to avoid fingerprints, they decide to flee the scene quickly in his car. They argue briefly about stealing the dead man's car, but ultimately decide they have little choice if they want to escape. With no money or transportation, they feel this is their only option, despite the risks involved. They begin arguing again, this time over who should drive the stolen car. With past licenses suspended, neither feels fully comfortable driving. Unable to agree, they sit in frustrated silence. With limited options, they debate whether to visit their parents to rob them for money and resources. One character strongly advises against it since their parents would likely be monitored. While sulking during the drive, one character suddenly has another disturbing vision of their demise. They urgently insist they must abandon the car and flee for safety based on the premonition. Within the vision, the character speaks with the shadowy entity who offers to recharge a mystical amulet to see visions of the future. It demands human souls in exchange for this favor. The character contemplates accepting the tempting offer of an empowered amulet capable of seeing the future, but they express concern over betraying their brother by sacrificing souls. While driving away, one character reminisces about a past birthday where their brother tried to celebrate with them despite having little money. It is revealed they had a difficult childhood with an absent father and apathetic mother. When recalling their disappointing childhood birthday, one character makes an ominous wish for their brother to lose all his friends and never find love. It's implied this dark wish ended up coming true, foreshadowing future misfortune. Awaking from the vision, the character debates whether to confess the entity's offer and sacrifice innocence for more visions. Their morals clash with an underlying lust for power and knowledge. Still bickering, they begin discussing how to break into the parents' home to rob it. One character comes up with an elaborate act to trick the parents into thinking they are friendly visitors. Although continuously doubtful of the visions, the other character reluctantly agrees to flee the car. They begin hiking towards their parents' home on foot to rob them, still arguing over the validity of the premonitions. Andy and LeyLey arrive at a nice house, questioning if it could really be where their parents live now. They note the nameplates on the doors don't match their dad's last name and wonder if their parents changed their names to hide from them. They decide to investigate further and look for a way inside. Unable to get anyone to answer the door, Andy and LeyLey search for another way into the house. They find a loose plank in the backyard they can use to reach an open window on the second floor. After climbing inside, they split up to search the house for clues about their parents' new lives. While searching the house, Andy and LeyLey find signs that their parents now live a comfortable upper-middle-class lifestyle in contrast to their previous lower-income status. They express resentment over their parents' perceived abandonment and upgraded lifestyle after leaving them behind. Andy and LeyLey notice a lack of family photos in their parents' new home, further indicating their desire to forget their previous lives. The siblings feel hurt and offended by being erased from their parents' lives so completely. While snooping in their parents' bedroom, Andy and LeyLey find sexual items and accessories. This leads them to make snide remarks about their parents' social lives and implies a swinger's lifestyle. In the basement, Andy and LeyLey find spare beds and supplies, indicating the house has plenty of room. While continuing to search the house, Andy and LeyLey find letters and official documents revealing their parents falsified their deaths to profit from an insurance settlement. They realize they can't steal from or threaten their parents without risking trouble. Andy and LeyLey's mother arrives home early to find them inside the house. She pretends not to recognize them at first, but eventually acknowledges their identities. A tense conversation reveals the parents collected compensation money by falsely claiming Andy and LeyLey died in a fire. The mother makes excuses for abandoning Andy and LeyLey, claiming they were already presumed dead from the parasites. She implies they are not welcome to live with them long term, but can stay for one night. Andy resolves to leave in the morning before their father gets home. To maintain appearances, Andy agrees to cook dinner for their mother. While gathering ingredients, the siblings further discuss their anger and resentment over their parents' betrayal. When the siblings' father arrives home from work, he displays little interest in seeing them. He claims exhaustion and heads straight to bed, further demonstrating the parents' lack of care or concern. Andy continues to struggle with deciding whether to go through with killing his parents. He contemplates the risks and implications of giving in to Ashley's demands. Andy insists he chose Ashley over his parents and still intends to leave with her. He promises they will figure out another solution besides killing their parents. Ashley expresses doubt in Andy's reassurances and loyalty. She implies he prefers their parents and the possibility of a normal life over staying with her. Andy firmly states his commitment is only to Ashley and not their parents, despite her doubts. He affirms they will leave together and find another way forward. Just as Ashley is escalating her threats, the mother interrupts by entering the room. Ashley hides and the mother attempts to apologize to Andy alone. The mother offers to explain her actions, but makes excuses for Ashley's behavior. Andy dismisses her and reiterates his resolve to leave with Ashley in the morning. After the father goes to bed, the mother presses Andy and LeyLey to leave first thing in the morning. She emphasizes they cannot live there permanently, but guiltily offers to let them stay one night. Andy reluctantly agrees they will have to find somewhere else to stay. He resolves to pick a fight with his sister Ashley later, suggesting they have unresolved issues to discuss. Andy has an ominous dream featuring Ashley as a ghostly vision, pressuring him to kill their parents as an offering to her. Though disturbed, Andy dismisses the dream upon waking up. Even in the dream, LeyLey continues threatening Andy and insisting he devote himself fully to her. Her presence haunts him even while awake. Tormented by LeyLey's constant presence, Andy briefly contemplates killing her before realizing it likely wouldn't be worth the consequences. LeyLey ominously warns that as long as Andy keeps his eyes closed to the truth, she'll keep her mouth shut about his misdeeds. Andy discovers unhinged, threatening voicemails from Ashley, revealing her obsessive and controlling attitude towards him. More of Ashley's voicemails play, with increasingly haunting implications about Andy's true feelings and motives in their relationship. In another dream, Andy's deceased friend Julia appears, reminding him of their past relationship issues involving Ashley's clingy behavior. The dreams leave Andy regretting past mistakes. Julia advises Andy to start setting boundaries with Ashley instead of always dropping everything for her every demand. Just as cryptically as she arrived, Julia disappears from the dream without resolution, leaving Andy torn over their unfinished business. Andy grapples with the decision of whether to give in to Ashley's demands to kill their parents, considering the risks and moral implications. Ashley continues making ominous threats about what will happen if Andy does not murder their parents as she insists. Haunting visions remind Andy of the hitman murder in episode 1, as well as his past killing of Ashley's friend, which he feels little remorse over. Andy justifies his past murder of Ashley's friend as being necessary to protect Ashley. He continues feeling conflicted over committing further murders. A chilling vision shows the aftermath of Nina's accidental death at Andy and Lily's hands when they were younger. The vision continues, depicting Andy and Lily's panic over hiding Nina's corpse to conceal their role in her death. Andy and Lily hastily attempt to bury Nina's body in the woods to cover up what happened. They threaten each other to keep their secret. Lily blackmails Andy by threatening to expose him for Nina's death if he doesn't comply with her demands, forcing him to promise loyalty. Even after Nina's death, Lily continues manipulating and controlling Andy by keeping him isolated and dependent on her. Andy resents Lily for ruining his life, but feels powerless against her threats of exposing his past misdeeds. Again, Andy contemplates murdering Lily to free himself from her control, but knows the consequences likely wouldn't be worth it. Andy continues harboring deep resentment towards Lily for blackmailing him and ruining his life. When Andy resists Lily's control, she responds with threats to tell police about his role in the murder if he disobeys her. Lily tightens her grip on Andy by telling him she is his only companion and he must do whatever she says. Ashley appears in the dream again, pressuring Andy to kill their parents immediately. She implies a previous agreement between them and grows angry at Andy's hesitation. Andy confronts Ashley about her threats and questions her stability and motives. Ashley accuses Andy of betraying a promise to her by refusing to kill their parents. Unsatisfied, Ashley delivers an ultimatum. Either Andy kills their parents as an offering, or she will punish him in unspecified ways for breaking their agreement. Ashley reappears and takes the mother hostage at gunpoint, demanding Andy tie her up so they can kill the parents. Andy is unsure whether to follow through with Ashley's plan. Andrew looks for rope to tie up his dad. His dad catches him and asks what he is doing. The protagonist makes up an excuse that he needs help from his mom. The dad goes to the basement to check on the mom. Andrew takes out a cleaver and ties up his dad with rope. He has old rope burns on his wrists. Andrew's mom comes back and he ties her up too. He threatens them with a gun to get the mom's credit card pin and goes to withdraw money. Andrew calls the credit card company while still holding the gun to his parents' heads. He has the credit card withdrawal limit removed. After succeeding, he brings his mom upstairs to make another call to confirm the removal. Ashley debates whether to leave her brother Andrew alone with their tied-up parents. She decides not to, worrying Andrew might side with the parents. Andrew goes to withdraw more money himself. Andrew returns. He and his sister Ashley prepare to perform a ritual sacrifice on their parents. They draws runes using the dad's blood, sets up candles but does not have ritual music. When summoned, the demon says music is not needed. The demon quickly takes the parents' souls, leaving their bodies alive but unresponsive. Andrew and Ashley debate whether losing one's soul turns one into a vegetable. They killed their other victims quickly, so did not notice this effect before. The shower drain becomes clogged with blood and bodily fluids. Ashley tells Andrew to keep chopping while she finds the tools to unclog the drain. Ashley apologizes to Andrew for lashing out at him earlier, telling him she loves him. Andrew claims to be fine, but his emotions are unreadable to Ashley. Andrew and Ashley chop up and try burning their parents' bodies in the fireplace, but it does not work. They try blending the organs and making soup from the flesh. They remove the teeth and plan to weigh down the bones to sink them in the ocean. Ashley eats a meal made from the parents' flesh, insisting it makes her feel powerful. Andrew refuses to eat any, finding the idea reprehensible. Ashley plans to continue cannibalism to gain power from consumed humans. The siblings clean the entire murder scene thoroughly to eliminate all evidence before they abandon the house. With the bodies disposed of, Andrew cleans the murder scene thoroughly to eliminate evidence. He and Ashley debate whether they can continue living in the house or will get caught. Andrew thinks they need to abandon it and leave new fake identities. Ashley and Andrew discuss going to the ocean to dispose of the parents' skull and bones weighted down in bags. The protagonist checks that Andrew has no remains left behind. Ashley and Andrew discuss how to dispose of the last evidence and what their next move will be after escaping the house. Ashley suggests options, but Andrew shoots them down, frustrating him. The protagonist and Andrew debate their next steps after the murder. The protagonist wants to flee town and start new lives with fake identities. Andrew unrealistically insists they can remain in the house without getting caught. Ashley asks Andrew if he has any regrets. Andrew avoids answering directly, but seems relieved they finished disposing of the parents. Ashley can tell Andrew is hiding his thoughts. Andrew bizarrely suggests they pretend to be house-sitting for the dead parents to avoid suspicion. The protagonist shuts down his delusional thinking and insists they must disappear completely before police investigate. Ashley forces Andrew to thoroughly clean the murder scene despite his protests, so no evidence is left behind. She takes a prophetic nap and has a vision implying they will soon be pursued. In Ashley's vision, a demon implies impending disaster and advises her to flee the house immediately. She chops trees to unlock her escape, but is ultimately cornered and killed by Andrew. In Ashley's vision, the demon implies their souls are in danger, but refuses to explain further. The protagonist realizes the vision implies their murders of the parents have put them in peril. Andrew expresses frustration at Ashley's mistrust of him. She responds that Andrew is unreliable, frequently changing loyalties. Andrew denies doing so and pleads for more trust, but the Ashley remains suspicious. Ashley apologizes to Andrew for the earlier argument and says she loves him. Andrew only responds by thanking her coldly, upsetting her. The speaker discusses going the trust him route and getting a credit card from Andrew to go get money. Andrew questions if the speaker will turn on him and asks about where the blood came from. The speaker denies they will kill Andrew and says this is just witchcraft nonsense to scare him a little. The speaker apologizes to Andrew's father for always making Andrew look after his sibling. He explains he was stuck with kids at a young age and thought having another would be fine. He regrets neglecting to see the dynamic between the siblings. The speaker continues apologizing, saying Andrew was an easy child and he thought things would be fine. He offers Andrew a job at his company as an olive branch. When Andrew declines, the speaker realizes the seriousness of the situation. Andrew tells his mother the death certificates are part of a life insurance scam. The doctor pronounced the family dead from parasites, allowing the mother to collect life insurance she took out. The speaker is surprised but realizes the mother truly thought he had died. The speaker expresses impatience to begin the ritual summoning. Andrew says he still needs to finish disposing of the bodies. The speaker threatens Andrew to hurry up before becoming impatient again. Andrew tells his mother about a surgeon who faked their deaths from parasites so she could collect life insurance. She's surprised Andrew had policies, but he reminds her she took them out when he was quarantined. Andrew's mother offers to help him get a job and move past the situation. Andrew declines, saying he's not interested in fixing things. His mother realizes Andrew is involved with his sister. Andrew's mother accuses him of having an inappropriate relationship with his sister. Andrew denies doing anything and asks what she gives him to make this worth it. She calls herself a failure. Andrew says he has to finish the ritual. His mother pleads for him not to go, but he ignores her. The scene replays similar to before when Andrew conducted the ritual. The demonic ritual begins. The demon refers to Andrew as his sibling's pride and joy and says it will summon Andrew again. Andrew questions why the demon wants him. Andrew and his sister discuss disposing of the bodies down the drain. She threatens him when he calls her names. They dispose of the remains and clean up. His sister notes Andrew seems less disturbed than expected. She points out his fluctuating apathy and freaking out. She wonders if he saw visions, but he denies seeing anything useful. She notes his calm demeanor is unexpected but helpful. Andrew avoids talking about his feelings. She worries for him, but he denies being upset and just wants to avoid getting caught. Andrew and his sister have a final dinner in the family home. She cooked it poorly and he mocks her cooking skills. They go back and forth exaggerating praise and insults about the food. Andrew has a metaphysical dream representing his relationships through colored plushies. He must sit them together, feed them, and make them happy. The TV plays an episode titled Lily and Lily Alone. In the dream, Andrew collects sticks, waters flowers, and traps spirits in bottles. He unlocks chests and doors. A knife and flower appear, and Andrew chooses the flower. Andrew places the flower on a metaphorical heart. The dream concludes with, once upon a lonely lifetime, the heart finally became a monster. Sunshine got her broken heart. Andrew escapes the dream. Andrew's sister asks about his vision, but he claims it wasn't important. She's disappointed they don't know when the next one will come to plan their next steps. Andrew and his sister go to dispose of the parents' bones in the ocean. His bag breaks and the bones fall out. They shove each other into the water playfully. They discuss next steps like getting new identities. Andrew suggests just living in the car mugging people. She says that won't work long term. Andrew asks about buying fake identities. She suggests asking at a sketchy club. She agrees to check out the club for fake IDs. Andrew wants to take the risk despite the investigation. She makes him park the car elsewhere in case it was identified. He says they should go in separately to be cautious.